You're 12 years old, and the entire world just learned your name, but the face they fell in love with isn't really yours. One morning, you wake up, and nothing is ever normal again. You grew up in Bournemouth, England. Ordinary street, ordinary family. But you felt it, something burning inside you, something that didn't fit the town. Your family sold everything, moved to Florida. For you, audition after audition. Rejection after rejection. You studied every line like your life depended on it. Because it did. Then the call came. A show. Something different. Something strange. They asked if you'd shave your head. You didn't even hesitate. July 15th, 2016. The world watched. And something shifted. Overnight. Not metaphorically. Literally overnight. You were still going to school. Still doing homework. Still a child. But the world didn't care about that part. You learned to perform before you learned to drive. At 13, Time called you one of the most influential people on earth. At 14, you stood before the United Nations. Nobody saw your hands shaking. The hardest part wasn't the stages, it was the rooms after. They built a version of you, then they tore it down, then built it again. At 15, strangers debated your body, your face, your worth. You learn to smile on command, to perform joy. Fame is loudest when you're completely alone. Between takes, you read, you observed, you studied people. You still wanted birthday cake. You still wanted to be 15, but you had to be everything else for everyone else first. Some nights, the weight of it all pressed down so hard you couldn't breathe. They wrote stories about you. None of them asked you first. You were brave enough to ask for help. That took more courage than any audition, but something was forming beneath the surface, something entirely yours. At 16, you started building something nobody could take from you. Florence, your grandmother's name, your foundation. You sat at tables where no one else your age had ever sat. Every product, every ingredient, every decision, you. This wasn't a celebrity deal, this was a business you built. And millions of girls your age were picking it up off the shelf. On screen, you played a girl who refused to be defined. Off screen, same story. Executive producer, at 17, your name on the film, not just your face. You didn't wait for permission. You stopped asking for it. The lists and the titles, nice. But they weren't the point. Somewhere between 16 and 18, your voice changed. You started saying what you actually thought. Not everyone liked the real version of you. That was fine. You decided which version of yourself the world got to see. Leadership isn't loud. You learned that early. Sometimes you watched old videos of yourself, couldn't believe how far the road had stretched. You still loved this. Even after everything, you still loved this. Fame taught you what it felt like to be unseen. So you tried not to do that to others. You protected your private life like a fortress. Because it was yours. You built a team, real people, real jobs, real impact. At 18, the world looked at you differently because you looked at yourself differently. Every deal now, on your terms, you came back to where it started, but you weren't that girl anymore. Success without meaning felt hollow, so you built meaning into the structure. Somewhere, a girl is watching you, the way you once watched others. She thinks your life looks easy. She has no idea you gave up your ordinary life, but you got to build an extraordinary one. Most people spend their whole lives figuring out who they are. You had to figure it out in front of billions. You were 12 when it started. You were never really 12. The world gave you a stage. You built the whole theater.